Hi, this is Keith Bryant for Global SMT and Packaging here at SMTAI 2021 with Joel from Koh Young, and we're going to start to talk about how good the show's been so far, how nice it's been to see people in 3 dimensions and not to have sore eyes from looking at a screen.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the key, Keith. It's been great to be back. It's certainly a different feel. There's been some changes in just the layout, joining with the additional shows that are here. But I'll tell you, I didn't have huge expectations coming in, just because we're so close to Apex. We still have the COVID thing going on. The location change, I don't think helped considerably. But again, after day one, we had about 40 scans. That compares to about 55, I think we had on day one back in 2019. So, so we're down 30%, but still, certainly above expectations. And we had some good quality, which is always important, right? So, I feel good about it. I feel a lot better than I did coming in. I feel I'm happy that we stayed with the booth size, stayed with the equipment set. Obviously, we're unveiling our new dispensed process inspection tool, the Neptune C+. That's been very well received. I know we talked a little bit about that yesterday. So, better than I expected. I guess we'll put it that way. And my hope is that those that didn't show up here will show up in January. I'll just leave it at that. That other show.
Yes, I'm part of the committee that pulls this together, and we talked about the conference and we talked about the expo, and we said, well, somebody's got to be first.
That's right.
And I'm just really so pleased that it's happened.
Yeah.
Without wearing my SMTA hat, I'm just pleased that it's happened.
Yeah.
Every exhibitor that I've spoken to is happy.
Yeah.
The conferences are about the same amount down as you are down in terms of your footfall, but all the people that are there are interested. They're getting some really good questions.
That's right.
We've got probably one of the highest profile presenter layouts that we've had with lineups. That we've had at SMTAI for a lot of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody that's here is buzzing, and they're going to be going back out into the universe telling everybody who wasn't here, hey guys, you should have been here.
That's right.
That's always the nature of the kickoff. I mean, there are large multinationals here with relatively small booths, but you guys are probably one of the biggest 3 footprints that we've got in the place. And I'm sure that's actually helped and worked for you as well.
It absolutely has, and I think as the leader in our space, I think it's important to maintain that persona, if you will, right? We never wavered on booth size or what we wanted to show, the number of people that we were going to bring. I think we've got 9 guys here total between sales and applications, and we're going to take the same approach in January, right? Same size booth as we had in 2020. Same machine set, number-wise. So, we're ready to get back to this. And again, we've got a lot of new things to show. So hopefully, again, we'll have a good turnout. And whoever shows up, we'll maximize what we can with the interaction. Right?
And was the hottest thing on the stand the new conformal coating measurement, or were people just looking generally, at all of the options?
I think that was certainly a big part of our day yesterday. But again, being where we are in terms of market share and expectations for AOI, we had a lot of involvement with the Zenith 2, which is our flagship system. 8 projection, 4 analog, 4 digital, so we can inspect up to 25 millimeter in full true 3D measurement height at production speeds, and then you throw in the side cameras. Certainly had some strong interest there, and then of course our K-Smart suite of advanced software tools for process monitoring and feedback. So pretty much everything we expected. I think we hit on a little bit of all of that, and so again, the plan worked out, right? And hopefully we'll have another good day today. And again, I feel much better, I think, about what's going to happen in January based on what I saw here.
Yeah.
And again, just being back together has been,
Yeah.
I think, lifted everyone's spirit. You know?
I'm going to pick you up on K-Smart a little bit later, but one of the things that I've kind of noticed from talking to you and looking at the machines, you have a lot of flexibility in your equipment. Okay, now with conformal coding and everything, you've got something that's like way out there and good. But when you can talk about measurement up to 25 millimeters an inch, the camera so that you don't get any shading when you've got a mix of high and low components. You're really covering a lot of the I was going to say bases, but it's not really. It's issues that have grown up as people have got more and more used to AOI. Yeah, it's great, but I've got these tall components and they're shadowing stuff and I can't do it, and I can't actually measure the height of these, and I can't read this because I don't have enough graphics quality in the simple camera, and.
Yeah, and I think you just have to continue evolving, right? You keep improving, and that's really been Dr. Koh's MO from the beginning. Excuse me, the dry air, it's getting me too. But that's what we've always done, and you adapt. You do your homework, you do your research, you canvass the market, you find out where needs exist, where issues exist that don't have a solution, and you figure out ways to address that with your technology, and that's certainly what we did with the dispense process with the Neptune C+. We continue to evolve the AOI platform, and on top of that, maximizing the use of the software tools. We are very data centric, as I think most people know, being a true 3D company from the get-go, right? The basic design of the first SPI system that Dr. Koh created was based on measurement technology, right? We were measurement at our core from day one, and when it was time to unveil or design, I should say, and create the AOI system that we now have, same rules apply, right? Why do we want to start out with 2D when we're a 3D company? So that's the approach we took, and we add in that 2D as needed, right? There's a place for it, but measure. That's always what we've been about. So with that data set, if you will, that we're acquiring, now we can do things like apply that to artificial intelligence, just making the systems much more intuitive from a programming standpoint, auto programming, the closed loop feedback tools that exist in the KPO tool set, process optimizer for the printer and the mounter. All those things can be done because we have the data set that we have. And I talk a lot about this. It's the right kind, the right way, and the right amount, right? It's got to be objective, parametric, measurement based. You have to get it the right way with subsystems that will provide the accuracies needed. I'd like to say what's under the hood really matters.
Yep.
And then you have to have the right amount. So we have the trilogy, and we're applying that to our homegrown domain-centric artificial intelligence engines, and from that we can do all these other things with regards to K-Smart and KPO and auto programming. And here again, I think the sky's the limit. That's where we're going, right? The data now has kind of taken over as the center point and the true separating feature between all of the players in this space. So. We feel really good about where we're positioned from that perspective, and I think you'll hear a lot more about that come 2022 and beyond, with regards to again that really being the key piece to the puzzle going forward, right? How do we big data it's the buzzword everywhere, right?
Yep.
Yeah, cloud processing, all of this. So how do we apply what we have in that world, and to the benefit of our customers. That's really what it's all about, and again, continue evolving, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned printers, you mentioned pick and place. My obvious first question is, are you involved with the CFX guys so that you put everything together, or are you working also at a level above that with other partners, shall we say?
A little of both, Keith, right? So we really started in the opposite order, right? So before the CFX initiative was orchestrated and brought to a concept level, we started partnerships with basically all of the usual suspects, if you will. I don't have to name names, but both on the printer side and the mounter side. So we have that, right? We have what we've developed to work with those companies specifically. For the most part, we've been able to get to a point where the protocol is neutral enough that we can easily adapt to the others as we go forward. And that's exactly what we want to do, right? So then CFX comes along, and we certainly jumped in early from an inspection systems perspective. We have a great development team. We have local MES engineers that got involved and really helped drive it with our team at HQ. And we were one of the first. In fact, I dare say we were the first from an inspection systems perspective to be compliant with the spec as it was initially released. So, and we'll continue to evolve that. The trick now going forward is how do we take what we did or are doing still today with those partners, if you will, on the printer side and the mounter side, and kind of merge that with CFX or some next level sharing platform, if you will, right? I mean, ultimately, the customer base wants everything to work with everything, right? And they don't want to hear about partnerships. They don't want to hear about, they want what they want, and that's basically, I like that, but it's got to be able to work,
Yeah, give me a box and a screen, and I want to see all the data from all the processes, and I want to see a process window, and I want to see what's getting to the edge of the process.
Exactly, yeah. They don't want to hear that, well, you don't play with them, or you don't play with them, or you got to do this, do that. They want it to be seamless, and obviously that's where we're going, right? I mean, it's unavoidable, and so, the question is what's the path to get there? I think CFX is certainly going to play a large part in that, and we'll adapt to the point where CFX Hermes is like SMTAI. It's inferred. You get it. There's no question about.
You don't need to ask because it's there.
Exactly. It's just part of the.
Yeah. And, what you're saying is exactly right. I mean, I got involved in Smart Factory at the very early stages, and Global SMT have a Smart Factory conference and little expo once a year, and the first one was probably 5-6 years ago.
Sure.
And everybody was saying then that okay, you've got to buy a complete line from X company to actually do this,
to have all of that.
The machines won't talk to each other, and the inspection systems are never going to talk to these guys, and this is never going to happen. And now we've gone almost full circle, and it's almost getting to be smart factory, call it what you will, 4.0. It's starting to become the thing that a lot of senior people in terms of production management are focusing on.
Absolutely.
Because there's been enough data out there now that proves that this stuff not only improves the yield, but it improves control, it improves manufacturing, and it gives a huge amount of information to engineers that they didn't have before.
It's absolutely right. Right. Just the efficiencies have increased, and with that, cost goes down, which is ultimately what all of our customers are after, right? They have to be more competitive as well, and basically we're here to help them do that. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and I mean with you guys having a really good, accurate 3D SPI, I mean it's not changed. I won't say how many years I've been in the industry, but a long time. And when I started, everybody said, 60% of the faults start right at the beginning. It's the printer, it's the stencil, it's the paste. Right. And people are now saying, depending on who you talk to, between 60 and 80% of the faults are coming from there.
Yeah.
So if you can
absolutely right.
not only find the faults, but if you can see where the trend is coming in SPI, okay, the paste drying out a little bit because I'm getting insufficiency. They're still within the window, but something's changing.
That's right.
That's the time. I mean, as an engineer, that's the time I want to fix it.
Exactly.
I don't want the machine to tell me this has failed. I've got to wash
Yeah.
off X number of boards, and then I've got to change my process.
That's absolutely true. And I like to use the term self-healing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we're going for with this whole smart factory industry 4.0 concept, right? We need to create systems. We need to create communication avenues to allow machines to self-heal on the fly without having to have an operator or a technician come over and make an adjustment, right? And to do that, obviously, you have to have good data. You have to have trustworthy data. So that's really been our focus, right? Again, coming back to that data. And because we have that advanced data set that we feel nobody else really has, because of the difference in how we do what we do, we can then apply that to advance that whole initiative at both the print process and then the mounter process with the closed loop feedback from a pre-reflow AOI, right? So now we can identify those trends in volume or things that are happening at the printer that are going to cause issues down the line. Again, self-adjust, right, with the complete closed loop tools that we've created with KPO, and at some point in the not too distant future, do the same with mount feedback, where now we're feeding back to the machine, self-healing for offset or missing, maybe that we skip that feeder, we skip that nozzle based on what we're seeing at pre-reflow, and we go on. So, and that in a strange sort of way, when you really think about it, we're facing a huge problem now with supply chain, right? People can't get parts. So how do you help yourself? Well, there's many ways to do that, but building it right the first time is the low-hanging fruit, right? That's the first box you want to check. So with those capabilities that we're providing, we're helping people do just that, right? Build it right the first time. Don't create the scrap. Don't waste parts, and therefore you're going to be in a better position going forward than the guy down the street who's not doing those kinds of things and having to chase parts and pull parts off of scrap boards, all this crazy stuff that people are having to do to get by, right?
Yeah.
So,
and more importantly, really, with the intelligence that you've got, you're, as I said earlier, you're able to spot trends.
Exactly.
So you're working with everything still within the process window, and
that's right.
I was taught two things as an engineer in the very early days. The first one was do it once, get it right. And the second one was nothing is going to be perfect. If it fits within the process window, that's all you need, because that's the capable process.
Exactly.
So if you've got the window defined properly, your systems are able basically to keep everything on the straight and narrow.
That's exactly right. And it's interesting you bring that up, because when we go into a customer, the first thing we do typically from an SPI analysis standpoint is help them characterize their print process. Not necessarily the printer settings, but the entire process. As you said, it's the stencil, it's the paste, it's the aperture design. Ray Welsh does an amazing job for us with helping customers characterize that process and then understand how to get the most out of the SPI tool to best identify those trends, how to best analyze the data. And then you fast forward that, once you have that in place, okay, now we can talk about optimizing the program and all of that, right? But you have to start with having a well-characterized, optimized print and placement process for the feedback systems to truly provide the value that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's having that solid engineering and also having the data. I mean, just to share a case with you, it's a long time ago now, but one of the clients I was working with put in an SPI system, and I had lots of failures. And his first reaction was, the system isn't working properly because I'm getting lots of failures. And the reality was...
We've never heard that.
I'm sure you've seen it hundreds of times.
It is.
The reality was that, the print wasn't very good, but they weren't able to analyze it well enough to actually get the data to feed back to find out what was wrong.
That's right.
And then actually find the root cause and fix it.
Keith, we always tell people who are new to inspection, if you're gonna buy one system, start with the SPI. Right? Start with the SPI and let's clean up as much as we can right up front. And we get the same reaction. It's like, what's happening here? Well, prior to that, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I said, if you're not using SPI, Ray's term is you're printing in the dark, and that's so true, right? And you're fixing issues down line because of what you're creating in that by not having an SPI tool, not having a characterized print process. You're throwing people at it. You don't know that. You're not shipping junk, right? You're profitable. You're in business, but you're addressing it in other ways.
Yeah.
And if you just simply took the approach that we're advocating, you're going to eliminate all of that, right?
Yeah.
And then you add in the AOI and then another incremental jump, right?
Yeah.
So that's the process, right? And then again, now with the data, being able to link those processes together, SPI, pre-reflow, post-reflow AOI, and down line, now we can start to really correlate and see what's happening. What kind of solder joint is that volume of paste producing, right?
Yeah.
What did that pad look like coming out of the printer? What did it look like coming out of the oven, right?
Yeah.
And if we have issues or failures, we can then very quickly identify where it happened and what needs to be adjusted, and then certainly, as we go forward, make that adjustment automatically and self-heal, right? So that's where we're going. That's our initiative. That's what we're all about.
And it's the thing that's the hot topic in the industry, and it's going to be there for the next few years at least, for sure.
Yeah.
Because we pretty much in a lot of areas we've got good equipment. What we haven't really got is the data from each of those bits of equipment, and then the ability to correlate it all together.
That's right.
So I think that that's where the differentiation is going to come in equipment now. It's almost not is this machine better than that one, but it's okay. These two machines are pretty much the same, but this one gives me a huge amount of feedback and it's accurate, and this one maybe doesn't, and that's how to go forward.
Back to the point I made earlier, the data is going to be the differentiator now, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that's certainly here to stay.
Yeah.
And it will just continue to evolve. So if you don't have that ability to generate the data set needed to do all those other things, you're going to be in trouble, right? So that's our focus, right? That's our push. And again, we've got a great team that's working on that nonstop, night and day, to apply that data in different ways, more artificial intelligence, more intuitiveness in terms of the use of the system. We haven't even talked about the labor situation, right? No. And that's another one that I think maybe is not going to go away, right? No. So there again, back to the data, back to making the machines smarter, back to taking decisions off the shoulders of the people on the floor. It's going to be paramount, right?
Yeah.
Those people just aren't there anymore, or won't be going forward. Or if they are, they won't have the experience and skill set that the previous generation of operators and technicians had. So it all fits, right? It all plays together, and that's where you have to really be looking at what's going on out there right now, and predict, and there's a lot of people out there doing it, what's going to happen, 2, 3, 5 years from now. So we're paying close attention to that, and making sure that again we're doing things that align with where this thing's going, right? You have to evolve, and just like any business. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and talking of evolving, I'd like to give you a personal thank you for the new machine that you've got, because I used to be in advanced materials, and thickness of conformal coating was found by cutting a lump out of a board.
That's right.
Sticking it in a microscope and measuring it.
Yeah, we call that destructive analysis, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good because when you found out it was okay, you couldn't actually stick that
right.
back into the board.
Yeah, the genie's not going back in the bottle, is it?
Yeah. And at the time we didn't worry about it because conformal coating was definitely on the wane because people didn't want to do it. It was an extra process.
Exactly.
It was expensive material. Some of the chemistry was
messy,
a bit ugly,
hard to handle,
nasty, and now with the higher reliability stuff, the tin whiskers we're seeing off the back of lead free, and the electronic vehicles, the fact that electronics in cars has gone from like 10% to 70%. And
it keeps going up.
Conformal coating has had this huge resurge in the last few years.
It has.
But the issue was always the same. Okay, I can use a UV light, so I can hold a handle, I can look through it, and I can see, pretty much, it's coated where I want. But is the coating in the right place? Is it durable? Have I got small bubbles?
Exactly.
All of that stuff is now fixable.
Absolutely, and that's again, as I mentioned earlier on, we did our homework, right? We went out, we found out where those shortcomings existed in the current systems that were available to do that in a production environment, and we adapted, right? We added the technology needed to be able to do that measurement at production rates in multiple systems on the board, multiple points on the board. So that you can have the confidence that it's not only there, but it's there in the right quantity, it's in the right place, on a lead, on a component, a very sensitive area, and to be able to do that in a production environment, which was what was lacking, right? We just didn't have systems that were able to do that measurement analysis, non-destructive, wet, dry, transparent, semi-transparent. We've covered all the bases, right? So that's what we're providing with the Neptune platform, and again, I think it's one of those right time, right product kind of things. You expand that into the fact that we can use the tool also for underfill inspection. And again, what's going on out there right now with the kind of products we talked about, EV, cloud processing, server, everything that goes along with that. We're seeing a resurgence of flex circuitry. That fits, again, that market, right? So we're very conscious of keeping our eye on all of that all the time. So, and that's really, Keith, a benefit of having the customer base that we have as well, right? We are constantly in contact with our customers, some of which who don't manufacture themselves at all, but they need their CMs, their providers, to have the capability to inspect and process the types of components that they're going to be using going forward. That brings us into those conversations very early. So we have a bit of an advantage there, I feel like, and to kind of see what's next, what's the next big thing. And the nice thing about that is when we apply it, everybody benefits, right? We're not building a custom machine for customer X who's building cell phones and doesn't even do it themselves. We're taking whatever we develop for that application, we're building it into our software, and we're making that available to our entire customer base with a simple rev change. So it's almost like getting a new machine, with new capabilities every time we make those improvements.
A nice continuous evolution system.
It is, and now the next thing I think that we're looking at is more back-end processing, right? So how do we now apply our technology to that, right? To the back end. So there's multiple projects underway where we're looking at that, and we have some things going currently with our MOI system for inspecting gaskets and brake modules and things like this, where we're able to non-circuit board application inspection improvement, right? And well beyond just the 2D camera setups that have existed for those kind of things in the past. So you'll see more of this from us, certainly, as we go forward. More applications that you would say, that's interesting, right? I didn't think of that. Right? So
That's really good to hear, and it's been really good for you to share so much with us today.
Keith, always really appreciate it. Anytime.
Thank you very much for your time.
Very welcome.
This is Keith Bryant for Global SMT and Packaging in SMTAI 2021, and we've had a really great chat this morning, and I'm sure if we're lucky we'll be doing it again in January, and then again maybe later in the year. So thank you very much for listening, and see you at a space somewhere around the world sometime soon. All right, thanks again, Joel.
You're very welcome. Thank you.